Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the CD guy, Johnny Z here. Thank you so much for tuning back into the channel, and today I'm going to be reviewing the new Deep Purple studio album, Equals One. First off, just some fast album facts. This is the 23rd studio album by the English rock and metal legends Deep Purple, released today on Friday, July 19th, 2024, through Ear Music, and it's the follow-up to Turning to Crime from 2023, and their first album of original material since 2020's Whoosh. Personnel on this album was, of course, Ian Paice on the drums, Roger Glover on the bass, Ian Gillan on lead vocals, Don Airey on the keyboards, and new member Simon McBride on the guitars. Time for John's 5, my top 5 favorite songs from the new record. Coming in at number 1, I'm going to go with Lazy Sod, probably the closest thing on this record to the classic Deep Purple sound, in my opinion. You know, the lyrics are really fun, and the song is built on some really bluesy, driving riffs, and of course you have some great playing on here by keyboardist Don Airey, who really stands out with a fantastic solo. Probably the most proggy song, I'd say, on this record as well, and definitely stands out to me as, you know, my personal favorite on this album, and definitely one that I think could easily fit on any of the other Ezrin-produced Deep Purple records of the last 10 years or so. So, a really fantastic song here, in my opinion, far and away my favorite, and like I said, probably closest to that classic Deep Purple sound. Coming in at number 2, I'm going to go with Portable Door. This was the lead single released for the album, so I've had the most time with it compared to some of the other songs here, but it has a great groove to it with some really great guitar and synth riffs as well. I think Ian Paice's drums are pretty prominent in the mix for this track. I mean, he's a fantastic drummer, really an ageless wonder, and he does great work on this track as he does on the rest of this record. So ultimately, this song has, you know, some really nice melodies, and it's pretty much what I expected from Deep Purple in 2024 as to, you know, what they would be releasing as a lead single in anticipation for their next album. So I enjoyed it as a single. I understand why it was chosen as a single as well. Pretty accessible song here, but great track, all things considered. It's shorter. You know, a lot of the songs on this record are relatively short compared to some of the band's earlier work, but I think it's a song that packs a punch. It's concise, it's compact, and, you know, I really dig it. So coming in at number 2 here, going to go with Portable Door, the lead single for Equals One. Next, at number 3, let's go with Show Me. It's the album opener, and I think it works really well as the first song here on the record. It has all the right energy. You know, Gillan's vocals are recognizable right away. So is Don Airey's playing on the keyboards, and I really started to warm up to this track about a minute in, about halfway through. So it took me a little bit to adjust to the new guitarist Simon McBride's style. You know, which definitely differs from Steve Morse. McBride brings a heavier tone for sure, but wins me over pretty quickly here. So all in all, a really fun album opener, and I think very indicative of the rest of the record, especially in, you know, getting us used to Simon McBride's tone and his style going forward for the rest of this album. Number 4, Pictures of You. This was the second single released for the album here, and I don't think it's as strong as Portable Door, but the production sounds very clean and enhanced, so I really enjoyed that, and the chorus is super catchy, and we get a really melodic guitar solo here by Simon McBride as well. So once again, you have the band with this, you know, a little bit of a different sound, right? A little heavier, a little bit out of the band's comfort zone compared to the classic Deep Purple sound of the past, but I think they're firing on all cylinders here. So Pictures of You, another solid track, another decent single in my opinion, and definitely a standout for me, coming in at number 4 in my top 5. Closing out my top 5 here with Sharpshooter, another fun track with some really solid riffing by Simon McBride. You know, I think one thing worth mentioning here is Ian Gillan's vocals on this track, and really the rest of the record. You know, he's not the screamer that he used to be, but over the last few albums, he's become a lot more comfortable with, you know, more subdued, aged vocal delivery, which I think really shines here. All in all, I'm going to give this album 7 out of 10 stars. It's a fun, feel-good album by Deep Purple, and, you know, I'm really glad they're still making new music. You know, I saw them live in 2017, and I talked about it in the past. It was, to put it lightly, not a great show, to be honest. The band seemed lethargic or very low energy. They were on a bill with Alice Cooper, which definitely doesn't help. You know, it was a hot night, so maybe they just had an off night, but, you know, that doesn't take anything away from the fact that, you know, what they've been doing in the studio over the last decade with Bob Ezrin has been some fantastic work and some great late career work by Deep Purple that, you know, I definitely think you could stand up a lot of, you know, some of the standout tracks from those records against a lot of their classic material, and it would definitely hold its own. You know, I think working with Bob Ezrin has really reawoken some kind of a creative rebirth within the band over the last decade, and, you know, again, these late career studio albums have been very similar in energy and attitude, but this record in particular is a bit heavier with the addition of Simon McBride replacing Steve Morse, and the songs here are shorter than usual, definitely a lot more accessible, but all around, it's a fun record, I think, and, not to sound like a broken record, but when it comes to these bands who are at the later stage of their career, these older bands, I don't think we should take any of these new releases for granted because, again, with a lot of these groups, you never know when it's going to be their last, so I'm really happy Deep Purple are still making new music in the studio here, and, is it top shelf Deep Purple material? Probably not, obviously I'm going to keep listening, but as of right now, probably not in my opinion, but for a band that's been around for nearly 60 years, it's a really enjoyable, solid record, and pretty much what I expected from the band, aside from a bit of a heavier sound. So that wraps up my review here of the new Deep Purple studio album, Equals One. Just wanted to share my thoughts briefly on the channel, on the new record, how it would sound, how the band sound now, do they still rock, how do they sound with Simon McBride, all these questions that I wanted to talk about here in this review, but ultimately, like I said, 7 out of 10 stars, I enjoyed it quite a bit. Fun album from Deep Purple here at this stage in their careers, should not take these albums for granted, so good stuff all around. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below, turn on the bell for notifications so you don't miss a new upload, and let me know down in the comment section below, what are your thoughts on Equals One by Deep Purple? Did it live up to your expectations? I want to hear from you. And until next time, it's the CD guy, Johnny Z, signing off. Take care, everybody.